Good.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to this evening's SheFan Pro's Empowered Women in Blockchains. I'm absolutely delighted to have you all here watching back on the recording, and mostly so excited to be able to introduce to you all the wonderful one and only Derek Smith. Derek.
It's a pleasure to see you, Shelley. Thank you so much for having me. This is great.
Oh, I absolutely love you and love what you do. And I'm just so excited to have you share with us these valuable insights this evening. So please go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again. Thank you so much, Shelley, for having me. Joanne, thank you very much for inviting me. And of course, to the SheFan Pro community, thank you very much for being with me today. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Derek Smith. I'm an event host and master of ceremonies. And tonight, this morning, this afternoon, wherever it is you find yourself, we are going to have a little bit of fun. But before we get into all of that fun, I got to say to you guys very, very quickly that we want to make sure that each and every one of you is aware about what I'm about. So if it's okay with you, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. Over the last 10 years, I've been traveling the world and I've been hosting live events and virtual events online. And as you know, about 2 years ago, we all found ourselves locked indoors, and then we all experienced the same thing: taking part in terrible virtual events. No doubt you experienced the same thing as I did, which is we were given a promise and that promise was not delivered on. I saw that as an opportunity to start helping people, and that's exactly what I did. Specifically, I started helping non-native English speaking founders, entrepreneurs, and top managers to increase their confidence at virtual events while also helping them work on their event structures a little bit. And so over the course of that time, we birthed the Test 1, 2, 3 program. And with your permission, later on in this event, I'd love to tell you a little bit more about the Test 1, 2, 3 program. But in the meantime, I'd like to make a quick promise to all of you today. And that promise, of course, is tonight, we are all going to make mistakes. That's right. You might be making a mistake. I'll definitely make a mistake. In fact, some of you have already maybe made a mistake by thinking that you're at some kind of cooking workshop. You are not. You, my friends, are at a public speaking workshop, and my attendees here in the room with me tonight are going to get an opportunity to speak on stage tonight, and no doubt they are going to make a mistake too. So if we are all in agreement, let's make some mistakes, okay? Okay, sounds good. Now, can I ask everybody here in the room to give me a thumbs up if they are interested in making mistakes? Looks like we got some people who are engaged in making mistakes tonight. That is their own problem. So every week, just so you know, I host a live training space. In this live training space, as I mentioned, I work with non-native English speaking founders, entrepreneurs, and top managers to help them boost their public speaking skills. How do we do that? Well, we host an open mic event, which is essentially first come, first serve, and we give them at least 5 minutes to come in and do their speech or do their poem or tell their story or provide their event introductions. It gives them a safe space in a private, curated community where they can feel as though they can make as many mistakes as they want. We also play some fun games, and everybody ultimately leaves feeling as though they are better at virtual event speaking or even event hosting. So as I said earlier, I want to give you a whole rundown of the live training space later, but first I want to talk about what's in this box. You see, this box holds the ultimate recipe to master virtual events. And tonight, what I'd like to do is I would like to run through my favorite five favorite ingredients that make up the ultimate recipe. Now, there are a lot of ingredients that make up great virtual events, but these are the ones that I think everybody can start using today and incorporate into their virtual event speaking. So with that in mind, I also want to just send out a quick challenge to those in the room with me tonight. I can see we got Shelley, we got Joanne here, so I'm going to make sure that they are aware that there's going to be a challenge at some point during this event to get them to step up and engage with us here, the audience, and ultimately they can win a very fantastic prize. How's that sound, everybody? Sound good? Give me a thumbs up. All right, let's get started. Let's get into that. And actually, let me plant a little seed into their heads before we really jump into it, because I want them to think about it for a quick second. What was the best day of your entire life? Let us think about that for a second. What was the best day of your entire life? All right, let's jump into it. You can stop thinking about that, even though that is no doubt going to be on your mind for the duration of this event. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head while we focus on the ingredients that exist inside of this recipe box. So number one on the list tends to be one of the scariest for public speakers. And that is, of course, eye contact. Providing eye contact, whether it be in a virtual event or even more so in a live event, is one of the scariest things for public speakers. In the old traditional events where we would stand in front of people, it would be very difficult to make eye contact and allow them to look inside your soul. But that's exactly what you need to do, so that way you can connect with your audience. And why do you do it? You do it so you can connect with them and make them feel special. The moment they feel that you are looking at them, they have your attention for the duration of the time that you speak. Now we find ourselves in virtual events a little bit more. And believe it or not, the system is surprisingly more simple and yet oh so difficult to do. And that, of course, is to look directly in the lens. I'm sure you've attended events where the host or the speaker was looking all over the room. They didn't know where they're looking at themselves like, oh my, I look good. That's pretty nice. No, look inside the lens so that way you can look at your audience, because the reality is you're either watching this event live currently as it happens, or you press play on the event later on sometime in the future. You want to look directly at those people, but there's also those other people who aren't even watching this event right now. They're listening to the event while they're doing the dishes. So if you ever want to give eye contact to someone's ear, give them a quick shout out and say, hey, to all the listeners, we're about to run into the ultimate recipe to master virtual events. There, all of a sudden, I have just provided eye contact inside someone's ear. So number one on the list, eye contact. Don't forget it. All right, number two on the list, and let's be honest, all of these ingredients, the fundamental reason we use these ingredients is so that way we can engage with our audience. And that's number two on the list, audience engagement. Oh, sorry. Can you guys hear me right now? Quick thumbs up. Can you hear my microphone? Oh, okay, we can hear it. Okay. Actually, I just tricked you. Obviously, I knew you could hear me. I've tested my microphone half hour ago. I'm fully aware that you can hear me. What I was trying to do is ask you a question. And guess what? It worked. You engaged with me. And questions are the best way to engage with your audience. You can ask a wide variety of different questions. You can think of them. But one of the cardinal sins of many event hosts and event speakers is what they do is they join in the event, and what they say immediately to their audience is, hey, how's everybody doing? And crickets. There's crickets because when you speak to everyone, you're speaking to no one at all. You know, we got these softwares like Zoom, Discord, even Twitter Spaces. You can look and you can see their name written right there, whether it's their username or their first name, and you should just target them. Choose a name and speak to them directly. For example, I'm going to look at someone here in the audience right now, Shelly. Shelly, for example. Shelly, why don't you unmute your microphone? I got a question to ask you. Shelly, where in the world are you right now?
I'm in the UK at the moment, Derek.
Well, I've heard wonderful things about the UK. I hear you guys are doing pretty good. I got a question for you. This week specifically, Shelly, what is one of the most exciting things that's happening in blockchain technology?
Well, this week, particularly for me, it's SheFan Pro's development in the space. We're really gaining lots of traction, lots of new partners, and it's really exciting for me.
Thank you very much, Shelly. So many more questions I got for you, but we will keep things moving along. Thanks for your response. You see, that's all you have to do. You just call out the person specifically. Don't broadly ask everyone a question, because then no one will respond to you. Of course, I did it earlier in the event too. When it comes to audience engagement, there's also another very important way of getting people's attention, and that is through nonverbal communication. So is everybody having a good time so far? Give me a yes or a no. Yes, looks like we're having a good time. Thank you very much for your response. Thumbs up, thumbs down, works like a charm. Of course, you can always encourage people to go ooh, ooh, ooh like that. Of course, nobody ever really does that one. Or you can always pander to the audience and say, give yourselves a nice round of applause. So why don't you give yourselves a nice round of applause right now? That's right. What that ultimately does is gets people's blood flowing and gets their arms moving. And frankly, that's ultimately what you want. Audience engagement. So let's head on to number 3 on our list of ingredients inside this recipe box. Number 3, of course, are 2 words that people absolutely cringe when they hear, but they go well together and they are ideal for virtual event speakers at any point. And those 2 words, of course, are time and management. That's right. Time management. It's such an important part of anyone taking part in a virtual event. You see, when you get things started, you want to set expectations and you want to establish trust. The best way to do that, of course, is to point out the time. If you're an event host, as an example, you should know that your event is, let's say, an hour. Well, it's a great opportunity at the start of the event to establish that, hey, welcome to the event. Just so you know, this event's going to run for an hour, and my job is to keep the flow of momentum moving so you can assure that I'll be keeping an eye on the clock for the duration of this event. After all, a lot of us are taking part in these virtual events at home, sitting in a chair, and that hovered little leave button in the Zoom room is right there, and anyone can leave at any moment. But if you establish the time, people will get a little understanding going, I guess I can make a sandwich in 30 minutes. And that's right. If you can keep the time moving, people will feel as though they are in good hands. Now, if you are a virtual event speaker, not just the host, but the speaker, you can still incorporate the same time management rules that apply for the host. What you do is you essentially let your sentence establish the time right off the bat. Here's an example for you. What I could say to you right now is, hi, my name's Derek. In 10 seconds or less, I am going to recite the English alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. See? Under 10 seconds. I have now given you a little bit more of a reason to trust me because I have stuck within the time frame I set out to do. Better yet, like I said, our challenge is going to be coming up after I'm done speaking, and maybe I would like to encourage those who are going to take up this challenge to incorporate time management when they speak by saying, you know, in the next minute, I'm going to tell you about the best day in my entire life. Great little tip. If you have a pen, you might want to write that down right now. Remember, all we're trying to do is ensure that the audience knows they are in good hands. Let's get into number 4. Number 4 is, of course, confidence and determination. Confidence and determination are pivotal to your success as a virtual event speaker. Of course, confidence comes, unfortunately, with practice. But I say unfortunately, is it really that much of a problem? A lot of people think so, but the reality is with practice, and I'm saying just a little bit of practice, you can develop your confidence very quickly. In fact, in a matter of a couple days, you could learn to just stare right into this lens and get that confidence going. So with confidence, you can then get your audience on your side. And the best way to establish your confidence is to know why you are there. What is your purpose? If you're an event host, you should know why you're at this event. Or better yet, if you're just speaking at the event, you should know why you're there. What you do is just stay on point. Stick to your purpose. Don't go off on a tangent about something that is unrelated to the reason you're in attendance. Nobody wants to hear that, and everyone will hover over that leave button and leave the event. You don't want that, and you want to make sure you stick to your purpose. And of course, it all comes down to determination. Now, determination is a very interesting thing. You and I have all spoken our entire lives. Now, I work a lot with non-native English speaking people, so I get it. It's not that easy to speak in a foreign language, but whatever language you've spoken, you have always ended your sentences with a period. In fact, use this sentence as an example. This sentence, I have no idea where it's going to end, but I do know for a fact that what I'm ultimately going to do is end it with a period. See what I did there? I just knew that I concluded my thought no matter what. And the one thing that you need to remember always is never apologize. You'll see event hosts do it all the time. They'll say, I'm sorry. And one said, don't say sorry, just keep moving. Go push it and get through that sentence. I tell you, when you do, you'll come off significantly more confident, and all you need is to be determined. Now, unless you are confident and you are determined, you got to remember that if you are not those things, in 1 hour's time, nobody is going to be thinking about you. In fact, look at me. I'm determined, I'm confident, and there's a very good chance in 1 hour you will not be thinking about me. So don't take yourself so seriously. Just have fun with it. Be confident, and of course, finish all of your sentences with a period or a semicolon or a question. You know what? I'm sorry. One second. Do you see how lame that was? Crazy lame. Make sure you stay determined and never apologize. Folks, we're on to number 5 of the ingredients that appear in the ultimate recipe to master virtual events. And so number 5, and one of my favorites, is of course spontaneity. Spontaneity. What you need to know about spontaneity is that it requires you to keep on your toes. Pardon my French, but shit will happen. And when it does, you need to be ready to just be able to roll with it. Just roll with the situation. Now, the trick here is you need to be prepared. Absolutely, you need to be prepared, but don't stick to your plan too strongly. Whether it's a live event or a virtual event, someone's going to drop a beer bottle, the power's going to go out, someone's going to turn on their microphone, you're going to hear a screaming baby in the background. Whatever the case is, just roll with the punches. And of course, I could use this as an example. Like right now, I can see here in the room, we have Jeremy. Jeremy's here in the room with us right now. So Jeremy, unmute your microphone, and I got a question to ask you. Jeremy, if you can unmute your microphone, just tell me, what is the best dinosaur? So I was just told, of course, Jeremy is not here. He's clearly not here in the room with us. So you know what? You just roll with the punches. You just say, well, we'll keep on moving, folks. No big deal at all. Of course, a lot of you are actually wondering what the answer to that question is, and it's obviously a brontosaurus. Let's just keep that in mind. You know, folks, there's a great philosopher, a great educator, a great person out there. His name is Kermit the Frog, and he once said, spontaneity is a necessary ingredient for creativity. So what you need to do is get your speaking points down and then just speak around those points. Don't overcomplicate things. If you have a story, remember that it's your story. You know the details. So just fill them in as you speak. Stay in the flow and don't feel the need to be flawless. People like real things. They like real people, and real people make mistakes. They are not flawless. So just stay in the flow and be spontaneous. And to be spontaneous, all you need to do is be prepared. And of course, folks, as I've said time and time again, all we want to do is make mistakes. And I think it's about time we go ahead and make a couple mistakes. I want to look towards our audience now that are out there. We've gone over my 5 favorite ingredients to the ultimate recipe, but I thought I would ask a couple people here in the audience to see whether or not they had a particular ingredient that they like. So, for example, you've attended virtual events, and I'm going to ask anyone in the audience to unmute their microphone. Is there anything that ever takes place at a virtual event that you think is a key ingredient to making that event special? Don't be shy, just unmute your microphone and let us know.
Yeah, I think when people make you smile, it just makes you so happy. It just makes you so happy, and you want to listen because it just makes you happy, and you're just loving the vibe, and you just love it. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you now? Is there any particular way you think people can make you smile? Do they make you smile when they say your name or when they call you out?
It's just like having little jokes along with the conversation, yeah, and the stories, the jokes in there.
And it's interesting about jokes.
Really, but even, well, like you say, even if somebody makes a mistake, it actually makes you more genuine, and people like you more better, and it makes you smile.
You get it. That's right. And exactly. It's an interesting thing. There is a bit of a difference between live events and virtual events, as we know, but especially when it comes down to jokes, you can make a joke in a virtual event. All you can do, because you can't hear them laughing, is assume they're laughing and keep moving forward. Don't wait for laughter, because it ain't going to be coming anytime soon. So that's good. Do we have anyone else out there who'd like to point out any ingredient that they like to see when they attend a virtual event?
Yeah, definitely. I like to see that everybody gets an opportunity to speak. You know, I don't think there's anything worse than seeing somebody's hand raised and the conversation goes on to a different topic and somebody's still there with your hand and you feel like unmuting and saying, hey, you know, can you give Claire a chance to speak? Or I can see that, you know, Tom's got his hand up. You know, so I think, yeah, I think I like to see, you know, movement within the audience participants and everybody having an opportunity to speak, you know, in a timely fashion.
That's absolutely right. And of course, that's really up to the event host, because the event host is looking to monitor what's happening. And again, making sure that flow of energy is still flowing through and making sure everybody gets a chance. We want to make sure everything is as inclusive as possible. And of course, when they do unmute their microphone, it's really nice to assume that they've established a safe space for them to talk. So that way they can feel comfortable to say whatever it is they need to say. Definitely great. So what we'll do, oh, we got a hand raised over here. Please go ahead, yes. Shelley.
Thank you very much. I also like to see, you know, I like to have rules clearly outlined in the beginning, you know, the bedside manner, the housekeeping rules, if you like, you know, that, you know, you get people on a big event that'll be typing in the chat box. And, you know, when are those questions going to be addressed? Are they going to be addressed at the end? Or have we got somebody keeping an eye on that as we go? Because sometimes those questions get kind of lost in transit.
Absolutely, Shelley. No, exactly. Establishing those parameters are not only important at the beginning of the event, but it's always nice to reiterate the certain key parameters during the event to let those who have just arrived in an event to know what's actually going on. And I think that's a great point. I think that's exactly what you need to do. So without further ado, let's keep jumping in. Of course, I did mention these 5 ingredients over the course of this event tonight. I know this is my way of providing a slideshow deck for everyone to read. Of course, what we have there is eye contact, audience engagement, time management, confidence and determination, and of course, spontaneity. Now, what I'd like to ask our attendees here in the room with me right now, do you have any questions on how to leverage and or use any of these 5? Because in a moment, what we're going to be doing is calling upon some of us to tap into these ideas. And I want to make sure there are no unanswered questions about what we do to get these. So any questions from anyone in our audience tonight? I see a hand raised. Please, Shelley, go ahead.
Yes, I hear this a lot of the time, and I know some of our audience members would be keen to know this. Where should people be looking? Because some people look at, like you said, some people look at themselves, some people look at you in the frame, and some people look at the camera lens on their device, whatever that is, desktop, laptop, whatever. Where are people's eyes meant to be?
It's a great question, exactly. And I feel as though in the early days of the wild, wild west of virtual meetings, maybe a decade ago, everybody seemed to struggle with where they were supposed to look. It became pretty apparent at some point that looking into the lens was the way to go. Now, of course, certain softwares have found a way to ensure that when we look right in the lens, that it keeps us kind of like, no matter which way you look, it looks as though I'm looking in the lens. But the reality is, the ideal scenario is looking people directly in the eye. Now, as an event host, I have my screen down here right now. So from time to time, I'll look down here, see what's going on, but then I'll look back up here. The reality is, especially for a speaker or an event host, people are, or you should assume people are looking at you at all times. So act like it. You know, for me, as you can tell, I'm doing something that not everybody does, which is I am standing. One of the other tips I like to tell certain people who do like to stand is when you're hosting an event, one of the tricks I always do is I always wear shoes. Right now, I'm wearing shoes for no good reason. I'm clearly standing in my living room, and yet it makes me feel like I'm out of the house and I am taking care of business. So to answer your question, Shelley, make sure you look in the lens. It's the best place to look. And that way, it's also a focal point that keeps me on target and make sure that I am looking directly at you. So yeah, any other questions out there? I see another hand. Please go ahead.
I would like to add to that, Derek. I noticed, you know, much like you put the shoes on, you know, and it gets you kind of ready and in the zone, I guess. I noticed that I always put perfume on. Every time before I go on a call, you know, like an event, I'll always put perfume on, and nobody can smell it. I mean, it's impossible, right? But for me, it gets me in that zone and
gets you in the zone. That's absolutely right. Now, I did mention I'm wearing shoes. I should mention I'm also not wearing pants. So that's sort of just that's my thing. That's what I do. So, that's it. That's how we do it. We always want to get in the zone. We want to find our little trick or our little rabbit's foot to help make sure that we do well at our events. So that's good. So any other questions about these 5 ingredients, anyone? Don't be shy. You can ask anything you want before we jump into the big challenge for tonight. Looks as though we are ready then. In that case, maybe what we'll do first before we really get into the big challenge is maybe we'll do a quick warm-up challenge. I'm going to call upon 2 people here in the audience just to get people's tongues moving and get them talking, because let's be honest, I've been yabbity for far too long, and we need to incorporate some other people in here. So what I'll do is I'm going to call out certain people here in the audience. Like I said, I got 2 people right here. I am going to go Joanne first. Joanne, how about if you could just respond to this? We think your name's Joanne, but why don't you tell us what your name is, and then tell us what is it that you love to do?
My name's Joanne, and I just love buying cryptocurrency. I love it. I love learning about it because there's always something to learn. Every day, more and more to learn. Cryptocurrency, NFTs, I just love the whole entire thing.
Very good. Very good. Happy to hear it. Happy to hear it. I'm going to call upon Shelly. Same question, Shelly, in 10 seconds or less. Tell us your name and, of course, tell us what you love to do.
Okay, so my name's Shelly, and in 10 seconds, I'm going to tell you exactly what I love to do, which is build great relationships with people globally.
That is the perfect answer right there. And you did it in under 10 seconds, so we appreciate that. It sounds as though we are ready for the big challenge. Of course, as you know, we went over these 5 ingredients over the course of this event. And what I'm going to get you to do is remember, I gave you a bit of a sneak peek earlier on what it is we're going to be talking about. Hopefully you remembered. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to try to incorporate at least 3 of the ingredients on this list in your speaking. And what I will do is, of course, issue a very exciting prize, which I'll tell you about in just 1 second. So let me quickly remind you of the question, and then I'll tell you about the prize. In 1 minute or less, tell us about the best day of your life. Now, I don't want to assume everybody's interested in taking part in this, but I got a feeling that the prize will be enough to get you to take off the mute button from your microphone. The prize, of course, tonight is a free ticket to take part in the upcoming live training space, a $30 value coming up in 2 weeks' time, and you will be my very special guest speaker at the event, and I would love to have you. So, with that in mind, who in our audience would be glad to raise their hand and answer the question? As a reminder, I will repeat the question, and if you can incorporate 3 of these ingredients into your answer in 1 minute or less, tell us about the best day of your life. Would anyone like to take on the challenge? I believe Joanne would like to take on the challenge. Joanne, one more time, in 1 minute or less, tell us about the best day of your life.
Well, the best day of my life was when I got married to my husband, and that was in North Shields. I don't know if you know where that is. Do you guys know where that is? That's up in the Northeast, next to Newcastle. All of my family came along, and we went to Whitley Bay Lighthouse, and we had a limousine, and it was just the best day of my life.
Very nice, very nice. So here's what we did there, okay? We definitely included some audience engagement. Can we agree with that, Shelly? Did you see some audience engagement there? Well done, thumbs up on that end. I believe we incorporated a couple other things. Your eye contact was on point, and no doubt you were confident and determined to conclude that story. So as far as I'm concerned, Joanne, you are currently in the lead for the prize, but I think you have a contender to go against right now, which is Shelly. And Shelly, no doubt you are more than pleased to answer the following challenge. The challenge, as a reminder, unmute your microphone in 1 minute or less. Tell us about the best day of your life.
Hi, well, I'm Shelly Fantastic, and in 1 minute or less, I'm going to tell you about the best day in my life. Okay, so here we go. Back in the day, 27 years ago, I became a mum for the very first time. It was amazing. I know there's mums out there, right? Mums, dads out there in the audience. And, you know, suddenly I became a mom, and it broke my heart in so many beautiful ways I can't even describe to you. And I've never looked back. And that was definitely the best day in my life.
Very nice. Very good. Congratulations. Let's do a quick clap here for everybody involved. Thank you very much for that. Shelly, that was excellent. Not only did you have exceptional enthusiasm, which is obviously something you peppered in there. That was nice. Your eye contact was on point. Your audience engagement was excellent. And of course, your confidence and your ability to conclude that story was on point. Very pleased to have that. Now I'm forced to have quite the decision to make, and I'll tell you what the decision is. I would like to invite both Joanne and Shelly to be my special guest speakers at the live training event that's taking place in 2 weeks' time. So if you're interested, I'd like you to come along as my special guest. So thank you very much for your participation. I like that. And before we conclude, or before I conclude all of my yeah, I'd love to tell you a little bit about Test 1, 2, 3, which is a 3-month training program for non-native English speakers. These are founders, entrepreneurs, and top managers. And what we do is they're there to improve on their event speaking, to develop their voice, and to have some fun in the process. Now, we are offering a private, curated group of 4, again, like I said, non-native English speakers who are looking to engage with their audience, but more than anything, looking to activate their customers and clients and the people within their community. Now, what they can expect when they take part in the 3-month program is you're going to get one-on-one sessions with me, which is when we go over what it is you're looking to achieve, set some goals, and of course, work with you on a regular basis to give you that confidence you need to take part in, of course, our workshops. And of course, over the course of the 3-month program, we'll have workshops to get you to try new things and to test out new ideas. But the big one, and the one that people absolutely love, is what you got a little taste of tonight, which is the live training space. The live training space is an opportunity to have some fun with some other like-minded peers, people who are equally interested in trying to get better at what they do. They love the real-time feedback, and it is definitely a community of people that are just like you. Again, founders, entrepreneurs, and top managers, people who are just like, listen, I don't want to have to practice this in front of my community. I'd rather practice this in front of your community. And of course, we also do a weekly question and answer event where I'm in attendance, and you can ask any question you want and also get real-time feedback. Now, you might be asking yourself, what do I get during these 3-month period? I totally get that. In the first month, here's what you can expect. You can expect to learn how to activate participation in your audience, which is ultimately your biggest problem. You are having a hard time engaging with your community. You're having a hard time engaging with your customers. You're attending your own events. And let's be honest, you're not the strongest voice there. And in your role, you should be the strongest voice there. So what we'll do is we'll create or restructure your existing event, and then we're going to practice and establish your goals. By month 2, you'll have learned how to deliver more interactive experiences. You'll be able to improve your existing events, and of course, once again, practice and start impressing your friends and yourself. By month 3, that's when things are really going to be in flow for you. You're going to learn to craft and deliver powerful introductions. You'll get to lead the live group sessions, which again, that's just going to empower you, really help with your confidence, and get your determination to end those sentences with a period, no problem. And of course, you'll get to develop your unique voice. And then of course, you'll get to practice and master your virtual voice, which is very important, especially as a founder, especially as an entrepreneur out there. You guys need to get your voices strengthened a lot. And this is your perfect excuse to do that. Now, of course, our next enrollment is starting now. We'll be getting started in the next few weeks. Of course, Shelly and Joanne will be there at the first event. This program is a 3-month program at a value of $1,800. But for the SheFan Pro community, with the promo code, I'll be glad to provide you the same program with a 30% off promo code, which is of course May 123. That's promo code May 123. If you want to learn anything more about what it is we're working on here, I encourage you to check out the URL, the website, MrDerekSmith.com. And no doubt I will be glad to speak to you at any point to help you along your journey to becoming a significantly better virtual event host or speaker. Any questions, Shelly? Any questions, Joanne?
Fabulous. Absolutely love it. That was so much fun.
Yeah.
You know,
I love it.
isn't it true? when you engage with your audience, the time just goes like that.
Oh, it really does, doesn't it? Yeah. And to be quite honest, and I must say, like, this is the one thing I've been learning as I've been doing these training sessions, is that the magic that comes out of it, you know, sometimes we'll be having an event and the event is maybe getting a slow start, and then suddenly someone jumps in and they just knock people's socks off. And that's the magic. The one thing about these open mic style events is that it's first come, first serve. People come into the room, and then within no time, somebody just hits you with something that sometimes we have tears, sometimes we have laughter, sometimes we just have some thoughts that you'd never thought about. So what I'm trying to say to you is, every time we do these events, magic happens. And it's definitely the part of my role that I absolutely love. And it actually makes me happy to be getting out of bed every day to take part in this.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. I mean, you know, you're so upbeat, you're so great at what you do. I've loved this event today. I mean, it's just been amazing. Thank you so much, because, you know, there's nothing worse sometimes. You know, you can have death by decks or slides, can't you, sometimes? And it's so great to engage and feel that personal touch. I love it. Love it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Wow. So, you know, audience members, please, you know, reach out to Derek. He's given you his details. We'll put the links as well below this recording, so you can find the links there. And, you know, just reach out to Derek Smith, because as you can see, he's absolutely fabulous, isn't he? What can you say? And this is why we're proud to be partnered with Mr. Derek Smith here at SheFan Pro, because he is certainly a very valuable member of SheFan Pro. So thank you so much, Derek, for that. And I really hope as well that you're going to come back and join us in the future again.
You know, I will, definitely. And to be quite honest, I'm thrilled to be a part of the SheFan Pro community. I'm very pleased that Shelley, you were able to invite me. Joanne as well. Thank you very much for having me. This has been a great time for me. It's been great to be able to share some of my little ingredients that I like to incorporate into virtual events. And again, like I said, if you want or need anything from me, reach out to me at mrdereksmith.com.
Fabulous. Thank you ever so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
I had so much fun. Thank you.
Thank you.
I look forward to next time.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye.